So a prerequisite for any form of energy work is to develop what's called the practitioner skills. Viewing the diagram here, the practitioner skills consist of 5 steps. So briefly, I'd just like to introduce those. The first practitioner skill is the skill of being. And the skill of being means that it's important to bring your awareness into your own system and find a quality of neutrality. We're attempting to detect very tiny phenomena here, subtle palpations that normally are below the threshold of our perception. And so we have to quiet our own mind, quiet our own intentions. We have to back up a little bit from our normal engagement in the world in order to create a state in which very small things can be palpated. So for myself, I would say it consists of really bringing my awareness into my body, perhaps lowering my center of gravity, and just getting a sense of what I'm really here for, which is to be supportive. We don't use the word healer or healing in this approach because it implies that the practitioner is doing something to the client. Instead, the client's role, the practitioner's role, is to support the client so that their own innate healing properties can emerge according to their natural capacity. So step 1 for me is centering, grounding, and neutral for myself. Step 2 involves the relationship with the client. We could call it the skill of relationship. And for this, I would be putting my fingertips very lightly on the shoulders. And here, for every person, there's a place where they could be met. If you're crowding them, then they'll react. If you're too remote, then they'll also be reacting. And the danger is that you, attempting to palpate very small things, you could be palpating their reaction and think it is their own innate state. So we have to just find where's the sweet spot of right relationship with the client. And so, for example, if I'm just going to move my body to show this, but really we do it more just mentally. This would be getting closer and closer and closer, whereas this would be getting further and further and further. And somewhere in the middle, and it's unique for each person, is the right location where the person's no longer reacting to you. They're just at ease in their own natural state of being. Then the third practitioner skill is called the skill of listening. In the skill of listening, we're so busy with our minds. We're just like a chatterbox, constantly reaching out and analyzing. In the skill of listening, we have a pause, a little time where we just rest with whatever is present. It's like we shut off the motor part of our nerve system and just amplify the sensory side. Just let whatever is present come to you. So few people really feel heard in today's world. It's just too busy. So we take a moment and let that listening phase have a minute or two at least. Then the fourth practitioner skill is called the skill of recognition. In the skill of recognition, we could move our hands, make a light touch, especially near the midline of the body. And here we could begin to palpate what is present. From a polarity point of view, we would be palpating electromagnetic flow, which feels like a circuit flowing in the left arm and out the right. From a craniosacral point of view, we could be palpating the tide, in which the whole body seems to rise and widen or descend and narrow in a rhythmic flow. When we start to recognize subtle things, subtle phenomena in the body feels heard, and the innate wisdom of the body starts to be more accessible. And then lastly, our fifth practitioner skill is called the skill of conversation. And in the skill of conversation, we could adapt our hand position to make a little more contact, as if we're using our fingertips to pose a question. How is this for you? Would you like a little more support here? What if I give a little light movement here? Or what about a deeper contact? And if we pose a question, and if we wait with a sensitive listening, the skill of being able to detect very small things is central to all of this. If we can wait and listen, then the body will actually respond, as if telling a story. And thereby begins a process of development in which a story is told and heard, an answer is given. There begins to be a flow of information back and forth, a development, a progression. In science would be called a recurrent feedback loop, in which information is received and given back and forth. The skill of conversation could be immensely rewarding in the client being able to self-correct from the inside out through interactive relationship with a reflective, neutral practitioner. So the 5 practitioner skills, again, first the skill of being or presence, second the skill of relationship, third the skill of listening, fourth the skill of recognition, and finally the skill of conversation. Together these form the basis of the biodynamic approach of therapy, in which the emphasis is not on the practitioner doing something, but rather the client mobilizing resources from the inside out and self-correcting. Here, the therapeutic concept is an inside-out treatment through the 5 practitioner skills.